got to hear what just happened if you didn't know what happened with Kirk Cameron's book. So I want to show you some of the pictures of the book. And so, Kirk, as we go through these pictures, I want you to tell us a little bit about this book that you wrote, As You Grow.
Sure. I recently wrote a book for kids, and it's called As You Grow, and it teaches kids biblical wisdom through the seasons of their life and how to grow the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. And I wanted to do a book reading at a book library. I was denied by over 50 woke libraries who have hosted drag queen story hours. And some of the most shocking denials were in Alameda County. A library denied this book to teach kids biblical values while they are hosting a gender name change clinic today. Other libraries said, you know, our values and our messaging just don't line up. We're a queer-friendly library. And I'm thinking, well, what's not lining up? Love, kindness, self-control. It seems that the fruit of the Spirit is lining up in a contradictory fashion to the fruit of public libraries today. And we've got a plan to turn this denial into a revival in communities across America. And we're excited to see parents and librarians and concerned Americans taking advantage of it.
Yeah, you know, and I want to, let's go back. I've looked through the pictures that we have of the inside of the book that we just showed on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not like, you know, anti-gay, anti-LGBT. I mean, this is, you're talking about, you know,
No.
these core values of that. Who wouldn't want your children or grandchildren to talk about love and being, you know, being a good person and all. I mean, this is a great kids book. By the way, it's a very beautiful book. That's why we put the bravebooks.us, because grandma, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you got little kids or you got grandkids. This is the type of things we need to give our children to read. Now, did you hear what Kirk was saying about the library? You try to read at a library and they won't let you do it because it goes contradictory to their values? Is that the point they're saying? Or they just didn't want, they felt like you were the issue?
Well, all I can go by is their responses. But yes, they said that their messaging doesn't align with the fruit of the Spirit, apparently, or biblical wisdom. But I don't know, kids in public schools today, they're dealing with mental health issues, drug overdoses, cyberbullying, school shootings. I think a couple of lessons on patience, kindness, goodness, self-control might be a good idea. And what we're finding is that parents and librarians are getting into this, and they're actually asking for the book, and they want to host their own Brave Books Story Hour in their public libraries. And so that's my call to action. Let's not just sit on the sidelines and cry in our Chick-fil-A soup waiting for the rapture. Let's get on the offense. And I suggest every parent and grandparent grab their favorite children's storybook. It could be my book, your book, anybody's book, a book of the Bible. Call up your local library who has hosted a drag queen story hour and say, could I have the chance to read my book in your facility? And
Right.
If you get to do that, fantastic. Do it regularly. And if they say no, they're likely breaking the law. And you can contact bravebooks.com, and they will donate free books to you, help and assist for you to host a storybook hour in your public library. And as I said, turn this denial into a revival in your community.
It goes to the very core of America, what we're talking about. These are the approved library readings. I mean, these are the people, you've seen this. We're not going to play videos because we don't want to give them too much credit. But this is what the children are being submitted to. Now, Dutch, when I see this, you know, my first response when this all started, when it got into the mainstream media and we started hearing about it, was I'm shocked. I'm like, who in their right mind would let guys dressed up as not good-looking women, even more so, but crazy drama drag queen, who would want this for their children? This does not make sense to me.
Well, my first response is always anger, and then I have to just sort of rein it in and say, Lord, I think it's okay to have righteous indignation, but what do you want to say? I've been meditating today a good bit, Gene, on Psalm 27, where David said, in the King James translation, I would have fainted. Another translation said, I would have despaired. Had I not believed, I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I feel like that's where we are. We are in such a desperate place in this nation that we have to have God show up and change this. I've been preaching for 25 years. No one questions it anymore. There is no hope for America other than a true revival, a third great awakening. We will never change this nation now simply with good laws or good legislators. We have to have all that. We have to have good government. We have to have good education. But we are so desperate now. We must have something that changes the heart, changes the psyche of people to where they suddenly are awakened to God and His laws begin to be written in their hearts. We can't out-argue them. We can't change things just by forcing it on them. We must have an awakening. And so, it's back to this combination. We have to get in there. I'm an activist. I try to get people to vote. I try to get them to be involved in education, the things that Kirk is talking about. And then I also say, and pray into it. Pray that God's Spirit shows up and that the wind blows, because we are going to have a third great awakening.
Amen.
We're going to have a great revival, and that will be the game changer that causes all of these other things to have the strength and the power that they need for us to shift this nation. It's a desperate time, but we're going to win. God is going to do this.
And one thing I really appreciate is, and that I'm all about let people know what you don't like. We need to stand up at school board meetings and stand up and call your librarian and tell them what you don't like. Absolutely. But take it to the next step. And I'm going to give this to Pastor Rob. What Kirk is saying here is, don't just do that part, but give them an alternative. Start doing your own. We have to not just talk about what's wrong. We have to get involved in this, Pastor Rob, and give the world an option that's better for their children.
Yeah, Gene, you're right, and so is Kirk. And then I also wanted to comment with what Dutch said. I think it was Russell Kirk who said politicians are actors performing a script written by the audience. So the politicians we have are just a reflection of who we are. And the only way to change Washington or Sacramento or any of these swamp areas is that the populace itself has to have an awakening. And you dust off the old books, remember who you are, start to look at the reason why the foundation was the way it was and how it was established. And then all of a sudden we realize that's where our freedoms come from, and we want to go back to that. So, the law as a school teacher, guardian, to point us to Christ until faith comes, Galatians 3. So we're contending in the public square exactly what Kirk said. And he's in my hometown. We reside a stone's throw from each other. And when we were in the thick of this, Kirk was one of the biggest supporters of what we were doing while he was doing his stuff nationally. And he doesn't just talk lip service. He steps into the middle of it and gets it done. This is the rise of the citizen. We must activate in the ecclesia, the public square. And it's Christians who are to do that for the sake of their neighbors, because the law is the wise restraints that make men free. And if we contend for our neighbors, they will be set free and have lives worth living instead of having to deal with drag queen story hour and the